Hey, this is Teddy. Let's do a spring yard update part 2. Look at a couple plants and I'll show you how some of the beds look now that we've gotten to cleaning them up and stuff's kind of growing again. So let's look at this really quick while we're up here. I'm really happy this Dazzlerium Leophyllum is pushing out new growth. Really happy about that because it basically had no damage for the last 3 winters, and then this winter somehow, I don't know, just knocked out a bunch of stuff. There is that Yucca rigida. You can see it growing those. It's got what, 2 heads in there? Yeah. Little agave, Periicucii, that one did live, being small. This is like the next bed on our list up here, is we need to weed really bad. That's a new addition right there. That is Yucca Rostrata by Thomsoniana. There's 2 heads on it, and you can see the difference of that Rostrata on the left and then that hybrid on the right. I was watching the little Faxoniana that was there, and we almost had, I guess it was about as windy as it is today, and I went and looked at it. It was sitting kind of crooked, and I went over and basically the whole head just picked right up, so it had rotted off. So that's like a super nice corner spot right there, and just bit the bullet and got a nice big plant to put there from my friend. If you want to buy any desert plants, definitely hit up Angel at Coyote Trail Nursery. He has got probably the best selection of desert plants you can get. But he's online, he's on Facebook too. Hit him up. So it looks like everything else kind of lived in here. This is really cool. This is like the most tiny Echinacerius you can find. It's a Vidrafloris, yeah. But it's flowering there. Got a few heads, but it's like the size of a $50 basically. That was one of the agaves that I showed that died, Perii. So I put a little bit of a bigger Perii wachensis there. That should do fine. That's a good size to start from. We weeded all these beds down here, this whole kind of line in front of this bed where these miners are at. We weeded this bed really good, and then in that back corner, that's where that dead Brazoriensis was. So I pulled it out and I put a Sable Louisiana in there. So me and if anybody knows who Sable King is, we talk about it a lot, that it's all good to experiment and see what will live and try new stuff. But if we keep losing stuff, we kind of both agree on that we're not just going to keep replacing it with stuff that won't live. So like, for example, this palmetto, will it ever live out in the open with no protection and get to trunking size? No. I'm going to need to protect it. And it hurts me to say that because I love palmetto so much, but it's just the truth of it. So what I don't want is we have a really bad winter and there's just nothing left in these beds because all I did was just zone push and put stuff in that isn't really rated for my area. So again, getting back to what my point was, is that Louisiana against that wall, which I need to get better at YouTube and post in a picture, but my friend Mike Kirk sold me that, and he showed a picture of this Louisiana that was non-trunking yet. It had a little, you know, built up base, but the leaves were far over his head. It was probably an 8-foot plant already before it even had a trunk. So that's really good genetics. Wanted to put that there. Right there next to it is that's a Dunstan grapefruit. So it's like it's a hardy Dunstan grapefruit crossed with the trifoliate orange, and it doubles down and makes like a super hardy grapefruit that is edible. People like it. People had a lot of luck into zone 7 with it. So right there was I had a Trachycarpus wagnerianus, and when we were going around cleaning up these beds, something had dug a hole at the base of it and kind of tore a bunch of the roots, so it was really wobbly. And I could have, you know, filled the hole in, propped it up and staked it right there, and it would have been fine. But instead I dug it up, put that there, potted the waggy, and put it in the greenhouse. This Louisiana here has got some flower stalks going there. First time ever flowering on that. It's getting to a good size. That palmetto's really looking nice back there. I don't know, it's put out half a frond already. I said 6 fronds. We'll see. I want it to put out 6 fronds, but maybe it'll put out 4 this year. Now that I got stuff cleared out of the way, you can see that Sable Minor McCurtain back there a little bit better. So it's got a nice base on it there too. It flowers and seeds every year. But if you look at those leaflets, like those leaves are really big. And I've seen big McCurtains in person. It's not a small plant like people say that it is. It can get very big. The one I saw at Plant Delights was, I think, 8 feet tall. It had a little trunk on it. So there's Yucca gloriosa variegata cleaned up. See the bare trunk down there on those two. And it's got a bunch of pups on there. See this big Opuntia. I had to really cut it back because of the scale last year. But this is what it does in return, is it's got like crazy amount of growth. Should flower really good, get a bunch of new pads. Does this every year anyways, but it seems like it kind of said, oh, cut me back, I'm gonna show you what I can do. Needle palm looking really good. I gotta get in here and trim some more of this brown stuff off. There's a Sable Louisiana looking really nice. I like it. There's can't remember. Texas Red Star. Is it? Yeah, it is. It's yeah, hibiscus. Yeah, duh. Salvia. Got those in a few spots around the yard. Really like it. There's a big Sable Birmingham. That one's looking good. Let's see, building up a good base under there. Hopefully we'll get that thing big enough where it'll trunk. I always miss showing this. Here's another waggy we got under there. A couple of those fronds got scorched by the lights, but it's looking good. Didn't pull. It's pushing that ugly leaf out, and it's got a new spear under there. Let's see the little baby waggy trunk under there. I never show under the deck. Always forget. There's Sable Etonia. That's been under there for, this is probably its 5th year. Grows really slow, like maybe a frond and a half a year. But we'll see what it does. There's a hosta that's been there a bunch of years. I planted some ferns around here. That one's been there for a bunch of years, that fern. And then I planted a little sable minor under there. Boo's got some nonsense going on up here, trying to acclimate those colocasia, those elephant ears, to full sun. My wife wants me to plant them. That's her like favorite color. Got some more sable Louisianas, some stuff I dug out of this bed. That was our Christmas tree one year, and then we almost killed it, but came back. We like it. Cleaned up this bed really nice. That's got sable palmetto over there, sable palmetto over there. 2 different salvias in the other one that we saw. And then I was gonna plant a cycad in the middle here, but we decided to plant a fig here. We had figs down in the yard before, it's like my wife's favorite fruit. So I said, in my mind, I always take all these really good spots and selfishly plant what I want. So we'll plant that there. And it should give it really good protection close against the house. And it's gonna get big and cover the window with the branches and leaves in the summertime, but being bare leaved in the winter, it'll still get a lot of light through that window. Bunch more stuff we gotta plant. I had two of each of these, except for that last one. And I planted some already. Hardy gardenia, that's like daisy is the variety. Astromeria, I'm not saying that right, but it's a Peruvian lily. That's really hardy, full sun. I like all kinds of yuccas, but I like these as like little accent plants that you can put around the variegated version. That's a color guard. There's a camellia, red dawn or pink dawn maybe. Let me see. I'm not lying here. Oh, April dawn. I've got another one of those planted. Never messed with camellias before, but they'll grow here. Need to start getting into that. I'm gonna put this in the middle of this other rock bed over here, and all these plants are gonna go in there. I'm just gonna pack this thing full of as many plants and flowers as I can this year, and try to just beat out the Bermuda grass. Been a losing battle so far. These all go in the garage every winter. These are kind of my elephant ears that I've left over. Little pots are always stuff that I sell or give away. And then I had another big pot like this. This is just the green variety, Esculenta. But I'll always, after that comes up really good, I'll pull all that out of the pot and then separate it, pot those up, and then the nicest bulb that's left, I'll put it back in that pot. And that's kind of how I get a bunch of elephant ears every year. Couple different varieties. Let's see. Yeah, there's like a Royal Hawaiian. I think there's a pink China. Mojito. That's good. I'm glad I got one of those coming back. That's Aloha. Got that from my buddy TN Tropics, and he was asking about the pink China. So yeah, we got some coming up, and there's some more right here in that pot. I think we got some cannas there in the middle. That's a cool, like, get some red striping on it, banana. So we did all these pots right here with sunflower seeds around that stake, and wildflower seeds around the whole rest of the pot. So we got those stakes in the middle to hold up the sunflowers when they get big. But after these sprout, I'll move these around to like different corners of the driveway up here, like one here, one in that far corner, you know, maybe one here, just to give some different flowers and life to the yard. So we did a lot of work on this bed this year. I had this agave bed where basically all the agaves got killed. So I took all the rest of the plants out, like all these different opuntias, that little variegated yucca, all the little hens and chicks. And then I bought that agave lechuguilla from Angel, and then planted everything in here and filled up the bed, made it look nice. Let's see, we've got, that's yucca silver anniversary. It's really not that big. I thought it would be bigger to flower, but it's really pretty, and we'll see what it looks like when it flowers. But we cleaned up this bed really nice. Kind of a nice time to be doing this video since the azaleas are blooming right there. Nobody ever really gets to see those. I posted some pictures on Facebook, but this bed always gets overrun with weeds. There's a Sable Mexicana. Another one like this is even worse than Palmetto. This one kind of stays dwarfed because it gets banged up every winter. I protected it this year, so we'll see what it does. I hope it kind of looks like something cool, and we'll just have it go as long as we can here. I forget what the plant name is, but I know it's a storm cloud is the name of it. There's a palmetto in the back. Clematis flowering over there. I planted that Sable Latonia over there just this spring. These two azaleas were in the ground when we moved here, and I really like them. For being like an old lady plant, they're really cool when they flower. Look good with sables in front of them too. Double Sable Minor. Planted that painted fern there. Wanted to get more plants in here. Planted a hosta. Some more stuff comes up. There's some elephant ears in here, and another hibiscus right there that's coming up. Another Sable Minor. Oh, we had our Easter egg hunt today. It looks like they didn't find all of them. There's Sable Louisiana Blue Giant. Got that from Tom McClendon. And that's like a nice, really cool cultivar that gets really big. 8-foot trunk, really blue color to the leaves. Here's unprotected palmetto, which it wasn't very big anyways, but it held some of that green. And the rest of the leaves got burned. Fertilized it really good, mulched it. We'll see what it does. Planted another Sable Minor up there. And what is that? Oh yeah, native Trillium to Tennessee. Those are really cool. Some little Japanese painted ferns in here. I forget what the name of that plant is, like coral bells, yeah. That one was supposed to be a Godzilla and get really big, but never seen it get big yet. We'll see what it does. Planted another hosta under there, another coral bells, another little painted fern, and there's like a hellebore, which I want to get more of those in the ground, but we don't have too much shade. This is kind of our only shade area on this east side of the house, because we've got that, I think it's a Chinese privet, but I like it because it has that cool vase shape and provides some shade for these beds, so I keep it. Let's see, let's work down here. These beds I rarely ever show because they always look like literal hammered crap. But me and the wife both have, our hands are literally raw because we dug back and pulled out all the Bermuda grass in here and got these taken care of. So the beds were kind of crumbling, as you can see. So whenever I go to the beach, in North Carolina, I always see them. They have these walls built like this. So I basically just clad the front of the crumbling walls with some new wood, and then hammered in those pieces of angle to hold everything tight. So let's see. Now I found all the tags for everything, so I can remember what everything is now. That's Sable Miner Emerald Isle Giant. That's a Sable Brazoriensis. So mind you, everything over here, nothing got protected this winter, and it never does. But this is like what Brazoriensis can do here, depending on if you get, you know, a hardy plant or not. So that one I am willing to bet will be rock solid and be here until I kick the bucket. You can see these beds. I really like the curve that I did with them. I think they look really cool. Here is just North Carolina Sable Miner. That's Sable Birmingham. That was a little bit of a bigger plant, you can see, that I planted last year. It took a lot of damage, but it's pushing and growing pretty fast for being that damaged, so we'll see what it does. Here's a nice view of this needle palm that I don't show too much. That's like our second biggest one. I really like it. Another Sable Miner McCurtain. This is like typical. Most all these miners were planted in here the same time, and I'll show you this size versus, well, here it's right next to it. There's Sable Miner McCurtain. There's Sable Miner from North Carolina, like triple the size of it. So they just grow really slow, but it lends to their cold hardiness. So here's a weird one. This is Sable Blackburniana, as I bought it from Plant Delights. It doesn't take any damage, as you can see. And now it's got a flower stalk coming out under there. So a lot of people would say it's not a trunking palm. It's that's for sure Sable Miner. It got labeled wrong, or, you know, whatever. They've got a bad seed source. But a lot of things like Brazoriensis will flower really small. Louisiana will flower really small. There's a Sable Rosii that one of my friends has that flowers really small. These are all like pre-trunking that they flower. So who knows? Maybe it's just a miner, but we'll see. I'll keep everybody updated. North Carolina Sable Miner, really happy about this one. I don't know what this plant tag blew in there. This one's flowering. So what my goal is with a lot of this stuff that that I show, that I plant, is I want to end up propagating stuff that's really hardy and that people obviously have an interest in, because you can grow stuff all day long, but if nobody buys it, then, you know, what's the point? So people are really into North Carolina Sable Miners, Sable Miner McCurtain, Emerald Isle Giants. These are just, you know, the cultivars that people really want. So now we'll finally get some seed from a North Carolina Sable Miner, and I'll start growing some. Here's another Sable Birmingham. This got planted last year too. This one took just a beating. I don't know. I was almost tempted to pull this out and put a Louisiana here, but I haven't done it yet, so we'll see what happens. This is another Sable Miner Emerald Isle Giant. Taking some time to get some size to it, so we'll see. This is Sabal Brazoriensis that I planted last year. You can see the size of it. Got like that pre-trunk condition. It was in a 15-gallon pot and wasn't taken care of, had scale really bad. So it had, oh, I don't know, 8-9 leaves by the end of summer, but it still had scale. And I think that's what that combined with it just not being fully rooted in before winter, the cold just got down to it. But it'll live and come back, and we'll see what it does. Another North Carolina Sabal Minor, another Sabal Brazoriensis. So this is what I'm saying, like this leaf got banged up, but this leaf literally like the smallest tip damage. The rest is green. Another leaf, I don't know what, 20-30% damage, and just growing pretty good. So we'll see what those end up doing. I guess we could shoot down here. We like our flowering plants too, so here's some bee balm. This stuff comes up really good, comes back every year, flowers like crazy. We got a big bed of it. Almost missed it. Here's that flowering ornamental peach tree. I think it's a patio peach is what they call it, but it's looking pretty good now. Getting a thick trunk on it, and it and the needle palm kind of fight in here for dominance over the bed. Some wildflower stuff going on right here. And then here's our blackberry trellis that we eat fruit from every year. So it comes back, as you can see, and spreads like crazy. Got to kind of keep it in check and knock it back. There was 2 blueberry plants over there too that we walked by, but these are the main blueberry patch over here. We got 8 plants. You can see where it flowered, and all those are where the blueberries are going to grow out of. But we've got 8 plants in this bed. Knockout roses that I should have pruned back this year. They're going to be gigantic this year. Too big, really. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the knockout roses, more of it. Another one. This is our like second blueberry patch that we planted. And there's 8 plants in here too. They're just a little bit smaller than the other ones, but these are into making fruit, as you can see. Let's see, nothing else to note over here. Here's a little wildflower bed. So I didn't put any more seeds in here, but I've got some sunflowers going in the greenhouse, and when they get big, there's a bunch of holes in here. I'll plant a bunch in here. So let's look up here. This is a really cool bed. This is right below the main agave bed I showed in the last video. Agave died right there. Put a nice Neo-Mexicana there. And then this is the bed where all the agaves died. And I pulled all the rest of the living, like opuntias and all that stuff that I put in that other desert bed I showed you. And then we took that gigantic trunking Sabal Minor and put it in here. And we've got tons of room around it to plant some other plants. But this is definitely a specimen showpiece plant for my yard. So people would say, hey, why didn't you plant a windmill palm there? Well, out in the open right here, windmill palm is no good. So I'm gonna plant a plant that is good for my yard and will be here until the day I die. This bed is like the bane of my damn existence. Another one it's always just full of Bermuda grass. So we're rehabbing this right now. There's a cool sable miner. That's like a semi-dwarf. Started putting some other stuff in here, yucca. There's a hibiscus that comes back. Clematis doing its thing right there. Sable Louisiana, that one's starting to get big. That one is going to flower and fruit this year also. So here's this Yucca rigida. This one's like 3 times as big as the one up the hill, and it's got, I think, like 4 heads on this one. So that one's looking really cool. Bunch of milkweed. I planted one plant and it spreads like milkweed does. Comes up all over the place. But in this bed it can, and we really like it. Let's see. Craven County Sable Miner. Yeah, so this stuff is not cold damage. I hit that weed burner in here, as you can see, where all these clear patches are. Trying to test it out. So weed burner is a cool thing, but not when you've got this much dried grass in here, because it basically, you know, starts a damn wildfire. So obviously I had a hose in my hand, keeping it in check. But what it did was it got into some of the plants, which I'm not too happy about. So now we're back to pulling all the dead stuff, and then the green weeds later we'll hit with the weed burner. Yucca Faxoniana, that one, this is gonna be a stunner. This is putting out a lot of leaves. I think it's put out 4 leaves already this year, so looking forward to that. Let's see. Opuntia something linguiformis. I think it's either Englemani or Lindermai, but that one's starting to put out a bunch of pads. So between this and the potted one we got down the hill, we're going to start really cultivating some more Opuntias for sale. So in this bed down here, where that bucket is, I had a bunch of other Opuntias and hens and chicks, and was starting a bunch of stuff. We're just getting overrun with the Bermuda grass. So I'm gonna start taking these beds, like that bed especially, starting like right at the edge of this wood, and literally down to the bricks and over, and then all the way down too. I'm gonna cover all this with landscape fabric, let it sit 2 or 3 seasons, and then I'm gonna set all these rocks that I've got, where I built these little retaining walls, and I'm gonna mortar all these in, seal it up, take the landscape fabric off after a few years. Hopefully it killed everything in the dang beds. If not, we'll dig it all out anyways, and we'll start like kind of rehabbing the yard, because this sucks. Like it for the amount of time and effort I put into planting stuff, I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look good, you know. Let's walk down the hill and I'll show some of the, well, I guess we could peel down here really quick. Here's hibiscus coming back. Another Yucca color guard that I planted. Remember I said I had 2 plants up the hill. There's a camellia, big Hesperella parviflora. We really like that. Flowers. There you can kind of see clematis. There's a hardy gardenia. Another view of the Yucca rigida. And then, so this, I talked about it before, this was the other area that I lost a lot of agaves in. Like, there was a lechuguilla I had for, what, 3 years. Never took really any damage, died there. Havardiana died there. So the main plant died, but this is the one good thing about agaves, is that they always put out pups. So that one lived, and I think there's one behind it too. Remember, oh no, I pulled that one out already. So that died. I need that tag. I had this Faxoniana by Rostrata. I wanted the tag because I couldn't remember which cross it was, if it was Rostrata by Fax or Fax by Rostrata, but this one's really just struggling in that spot. It was just too small. So what I really wanted was starting with that Hesperello, like basically yucca right there where it was, yucca, yucca, and yucca, kind of this whole line. And then in the front, in between, like this was an agave here, here's Gracillipes. That's the main plant. That one did take some damage. The pups look a little bit better, but this was just that funky year that I don't know what happened with all the agaves, because we really didn't have a lot of moisture significant. It really didn't get that cold. I don't know. It's still a head scratcher for me. But here was another agave. I put another Yucca Atonia here, or Yucca Atonia, Sable Atonia. I'm trying to get these around, and I've heard there's people in Tennessee that have them out in the open, and they've had really good luck with them for like 20-30 years. So keep trying to plant some more. So this is our next kind of deal, is to just rip through this whole bed, get all the Bermuda grass out, fix everything in here as far as like getting it up to height. Like you can see, I've done some right here with after I ripped out all the Bermuda grass over here, kind of getting everything set in, and new gravel in here. But this whole bed we're gonna fix and use all these really nice rocks that we've got, and I have access to more at work, and kind of fix everything. So you can see there's like a really big low spot right there. All that's gonna come up, and then just really fix this bed and plant it really nice, but just squash as many plants as I can in here. So hopefully it'll just drown out the Bermuda grass after a few years. Obviously not this year with planting new stuff. All right, so there's that bed, which I don't usually ever show because it drives me absolutely insane. These are all the cactuses that I dug up today. So for reference, those are, it's like a short 15-gallon pot, basically. This was like basically this was like one plant that kind of split in half. So we got 2 plants. It's like a dwarf Opuntia. I'm not really sure what cultivar it is, but it might just be like Humifusa, like the eastern prickly pear. That's Opuntia strigil. That one has never flowered yet for me, but it is going to put on a show this year, so we'll see what it looks like. It doesn't look like really too many new pads. It looks like all flowers, and you can see it's covered in Bermuda grass. I think that was a Macrocentra, 2 pieces there. You know, put it in an equivalent size pot for how big it is. We'll see what that does. It looks kind of banged up. There's a really cool looking Opuntia common Comanchica. That one's never flowered either for me, so it's gonna flower here soon. We'll see what it looks like. There's another cow tongue that I was talking about, Linguiformis. So you can see like this is all one pad right here. It just really stretches out and looks like a cow tongue. There's a 15-gallon Sable Brazoriensis that's already sold to somebody. There's a 15-gallon Sable Palmetto Bald Head Island that's already sold to somebody. Cool to see though, if you've never seen palms in pots that big. And then here's like our leftover Sable Minor Lead that I didn't have room in the greenhouse and kind of had to get them out of there. And this is a good spot over here for them. They did really well last summer. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with them. Some are fine in pots or in these bags, but some are growing out of them. And I basically need somebody to just come and buy all the plants that I've got. So if anybody's interested, I always forget to do this, but I've got a store on eBay, Teddy's Nursery, just like the sign says right here, Teddy's Nursery. I've got my website in the works. I don't know why I'm dragging my feet and haven't gotten it finalized yet. I think it's probably just because I have so much stuff to do, and I'm not looking forward to basically something else that I've got to manage also, to be honest with you. But I'll try and get that up. Feel free to hit me up on eBay if you're interested in buying any plants that I've got. You can message me on YouTube. I always answer all of people's comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll try to do some more updates later in the summer. See ya.